Hello, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Firstly, I'd just like to thank the organisers, CAP, for this opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Daniel Cunnama, and I am the Science Engagement Astronomer at the South African Astronomical Observatory. We're based in Cape Town with our observing telescopes in the Northern Cape in South Africa. In my role, I'm tasked with the promotion and popularization of astronomy. Today, I'd like to talk to you about something which has become very close to my heart in the last few years, something I feel very passionately about, and something that I've been working on with primarily Kerry Jones, who has a company, African Tongue, which is an NGO, and she also is affiliated with the Rhodes University and Stellenbosch universities in South Africa, and her work is in primarily linguistics, and she has been working with the Khoi and San for over 10 years. I've been very fortunate in the last year or two to have been included in her work and welcomed into the community, which has been a very, very special experience, and some aspects of that I'd like to share with you today. So, in South Africa, we have a very diverse and rich population. We have a multilingual and multicultural society. We have 11 official languages, as well as over 25 other languages which are considered significant. We also have challenges which are low literacy. A lot of our teaching will take place in individuals' second or even third languages, and is primarily from a Western basis or perspective. What this means, though, is this diversity is that we do have incredible opportunities to engage people in a diverse and varied way, incorporating these other languages and cultures, and trying to reach people through outcomes which are familiar to them. So a lot of the work which I'm going to talk about today is from that basis. We are trying our hardest to rediscover the relationship of this with the stars of these people, these indigenous people who once had a incredibly close relationship with the stars. There was an intimate relationship with the stars, something which these days, and actually through a lot of the science we do as astronomers, we've become disconnected from, because of the understanding that the stars are so far away and don't influence our day-to-day lives. But in losing that, we've lost a lot of this inspiration and connection with the stars, which is very, very important, and important to get people interested in astronomy. I think that people's stories of the sky and of the stars are an excellent way to get people engaged at the first point in astronomy. For much of us, particularly those in Western cultures, we would have been introduced to astronomy either at a young age from school, but potentially through popular culture, things like Star Wars, and like a lot of people have their interest in space and stars through the stories that we tell, and those stories are not the same stories that other cultures have. So capturing these stories and sharing these stories and trying to engage people with stories that are familiar to them, or feel close to their heart, is a very powerful way to engage and to inspire people into an interest in astronomy. So that's something which we are trying to do in these projects. From a geopolitical perspective, this is also very close to the South African Astronomical Observatory's heart. The observatory in Cape Town celebrated 200 years last year, and it resides on land which was historically occupied by indigenous Khoi people. Our observatory up in Sutherland, which is 4 hours north, is situated in the Northern Cape, in the Karoo, and it also resides on land which was previously occupied by the San. So this is something which we have an intimate relationship with already, and something that has not necessarily been explored in a huge amount of detail, and something which we hope to grow, and something which we feel very close to. So I just want to talk about 3 current projects which are underway. Some Starlore animations which we have completed, and I'll be able to share with you. Some art installations which we will be installing in the new visitor center, due for completion later this year. And a Planetarium Film which we've just recently finished shooting and are currently editing. The animations were based on Khoi and Stan's Starlore. We've put together a set of 3 animations, and with a combination of astronomy and art and Starlore from stories collected from indigenous peoples, we've combined these sort of storytelling techniques in the stories with some animations, with the artwork inspired and utilizing members of the community and their inspiration and their art. We've animated these, and then we've translated them into multiple languages. Khoi, which is not an official language in South Africa, but it's actually spoken by almost 200,000 people still. So it's one of the few cases where we actually have, content in this language, and then also in the 3 sort of more popular languages in South Africa, Xhosa, English, and Afrikaans. So all 3 of these animations are available in all 4 languages, and you can see just an example there of one of them, the story of Dancer. So the links here are to the Moon's Message story, which was the first one we released. If you can't access it through these slides, I'll also post it on my social media in the coming days, and you can link through from there. More importantly, once we've got these stories, we want to engage the community with them. So these stories will be displayed in our visitor centre, both in Cape Town and Sutherland, for individuals who are passing through. But we also want to take the stories back to the people from whom the stories came, and show them these animations. This is something we've done recently. We were up in the Kalahari just a couple of weeks ago for a project which I'll talk about later, and we took the opportunity to set up an outdoor screen and show some of these animations and bring these stories which the children know to life. It was a very, very special experience, and at the end of the film, the song we had, the children recognized and sort of sang along through the credits. Very, very special, and great to sort of see the recognition of and ownership of these stories, and definitely very, very rewarding from that perspective. You can see one of the characters below there also, Gugesi, who is a shooting star who takes the form of a hedgehog, who also features in one of our animations. We're also working on another project, which is some art installations. As I mentioned, we have a new visitor centre in Cape Town, which is currently under construction and will be completed later this year. And in addition to the exhibits showcasing science and technology of the SAO, we will have artworks and informative exhibitions as well as the animations on show, based on traditional Khoi and San Starlore. And once again, these will be offered in a multilingual approach. We will feature the same 4 languages in all the write-ups in the visitor center, and try and expand these offerings even beyond that in the future. We'll have a couple of different installations. We have the ceiling, which you can see over here, which is going to be the actual night sky, but instead of Western constellations on it, we will be having Khoi constellations. And we'll also be having this Kachan, the trickster, or the creator, according to the myth. And he is holding 3 tortoises, which are what we know as Orion's belt. How we're doing these Khoi constellations is very, very cool too. We are using the Bleak and Lloyd collection, which is a collection of notes, tens of thousands of pages of notes from the 1870s, from William Bleak and Dorothea Lloyd, who were based in Cape Town, and were working with the indigenous communities here. And one of the things they did was spend a couple of nights looking up at the stars from Cape Town and identifying them, which was then recorded. And what we've now done is gone back in time with Stellarium to those dates, January 1874, and you can see there the note. Maybe you can't see it in detail, but to the northwest at about 8 p.m. In January 74. So back in Stellarium, we've gone back in time and had a look and identified the Dassi star. A Dassi is a rock hyrax, which is endemic in Cape Town. And then we've taken inspiration from the original Kalahari artwork, which is burned onto a bone rather than rock paintings, and we've then put that constellation up in the night sky, which will be reflected in our visitor center. Another one, which is a very nice example, is the Eland, which is Taurus as we would know it, which, when you think about it, is quite obvious. The Eland is a very large feature in Khoi and San culture, and something which is reflected in the sky. Finally, and just to wrap up, we are producing a new Planetarium film. We've previously produced a film, Rising Star, which, if you want to hear more about, you can see Sally McFarlane's talk, where she talks in some detail about that film. That was based mostly on South African astronomy. But we're now, and we've just finished shooting a new film where we've collected original San Starlore, and now we've done a sort of an animation live action mix, which we are putting together. You can see it's the story of the jackal, and how he got his black back, and you can see there's the animated jackal, and he is coming alive from the bone, which has been burned with this nighttime story there. So we're very, very excited about that, and we're hoping that will be released within the next couple of months. And we will also be making a 2D version so that it can be shared a little bit more widely. In future, we obviously want to expand on these. Collecting and sharing these rare resources is very, very important to the field and supporting cultural heritage. But there's a lot of cultural heritage in South Africa, as I mentioned at the beginning, and we want to expand it from Khoi and San and incorporate all of the other cultures and collect these stories and share them in various ways. So there's a huge amount of potential here to expand, and that's something which we do aim to do. And yeah, I think that it's very, very important and very, very exciting, and I realize that I've run slightly over time, so I apologize. And thank you once again for listening, and I will take any questions.